I just think someone should have told me, and no one told me anything. Hello, moms and moms to be. There are some things we need to talk about. Um, if you're growing a little one, or you already have kids, possibly, but this video is mainly for you who have not entered motherhood yet. There are things that I wish I knew before I became a mom. So, if you are interested in learning 5 things that I wish someone would have told me before becoming a mom, stay tuned. So the first thing, or tip number 1, is you will never, ever be alone again. I mean, from taking a shower or using the bathroom or even going to bed at night. You know, you may be a person that ends up co-sleeping. You're never going to be alone again. So I could be in the shower and my husband could be in another room, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's in another room. My kids will come hunt me down and knock on my shower, or, you know, if I'm in the bathroom, they'll stick their little fingers under the door, or just anything. You're never going to be alone again, okay? So that's the thing you have to get used to. And it took me probably like a whole year to get used to that. Now, as far as like someone sleeping in the bed with you, that may or may not happen. It depends on your setup, your situation. I breastfed and everything, so we did some co-sleeping and whatnot, but most of my kids got out of my bed by 1 year old. So I don't know, that might sound crazy to you right now because you don't even have kids, but 1 year old, at least, you know, like it kind of went back to normal for me. But that's not the case to everybody. I know people that have kids in their bed, you know, until they're like 4 years old. So it just depends. But again, I just want to warn you, you will never be by yourself again. Like, you're always a mother. Like, that's something that never turns off. Even at dinner, you know, you're never eating meals alone anymore. So you always have to consider fixing something for your kids, or chopping up their food and whatnot. Like, you don't just sit down at the table and eat anymore. There's always someone that needs something. There may even be someone who needs their butt wiped. Who knows? There's all kinds of fun things that happen when you have dinner with little kids, but just something to keep in mind. And then one other thing is like leaving the house. So anytime like you leave the house now, you just kind of get up and go. You do your thing and you move on. But you kind of have to do a little bit more planning once you have kids. So you have to make sure, okay, I got myself together, and then I have my kids' stuff together, and maybe they need a snack, or maybe they need some water or something like that. So there's a little bit more planning involved when you have children. So that's something that you learn very quickly. But again, this is something I just had no idea that was going to change for me once I had kids. So the second thing I want to talk about is how your brain changes. Basically, it's in science, it's proven, but your brain physically shrinks, and that helps you with bonding, learning new routines, learning how to protect the baby, and reading, I guess, their emotional needs. And so along with the brain shrinking, those good things happen, but then also you get this brain fog where you can't even remember, I don't know, basic things that you always could, and it goes away eventually, but you just get this brain fog for a while where it's just like, man, like I'm not as sharp as I used to be. But honestly, it's just your brain telling you, hey, you know, you need to focus on the baby. Let's focus on things that pertain to keeping this child alive. So you get spidey senses for your baby, but then you kind of like, it like dulls your senses for just mundane or everyday things that you're like, man, like what is wrong with me? Like what's happening? So it lasts for a while, but it does go away, you know, in time. And so, and then some parts, you know, you just change as a person. Like, you know, your brain is going through a change. So of course you're going to change. And usually that's for the good. So just something I didn't know. Okay, so the third thing that I wish someone would have told me is that you're going to relearn who you are. I definitely, after motherhood, feel like I lost a piece of myself that I had to grieve. And maybe, you don't experience that, but I do know I talk to a lot of people that do experience it. And so I guess it was just like, I am no longer this, young woman, child free, footloose and fancy free, and can just do what they want when they want. And so your purpose shifts to your children. And I think that's a good thing. In all honesty, I think it's a good thing. It's just that you have to adjust to who you are becoming. Like, your needs are no longer just for you. It focuses on your child and, of course, your family if you're married and whatnot. But it's not just about you anymore. And so with that, like, you can kind of, like, especially if you enter, or I say leave the workforce, your sense of purpose can kind of shift to, then that could be another dynamic that affects it. What does your career look like? And do you even want to have, this career that you thought that you wanted and whatnot? So just a couple things to consider. Your needs may change. What the old you liked may not be what the new you likes. So it was just a rediscovery of self. And it's a continuous discovery of self after you have kids. Okay, so number 4 is be open to help. This is one that I particularly struggled with after I had my firstborn son, because I'm one of those people that are like, if I can do it myself, I will do it myself. And so I think the hardest part was like, man, this is kind of a challenge, and you cannot do this all by yourself. Raising a child is hard, okay? And so you need people there that support you in different ways. So I recommend, if you can, strengthen your village before you even have kids. Get you a good support system, whether that's your mom, your sisters, your brothers, whoever else, cousins, friends, but you need a village in order to raise kids. I think that's the reason why a lot of us moms and dads struggle these days, because we don't have the support that we need, like that people used to grow up with, a community feel. And so that's one thing that I didn't value as much before I had kids, but after I had kids, I definitely immensely valued it. Yes, they will support you. Yes, they will babysit. That is key. They will babysit. You need to have people that you trust that can watch your kids. That's one of the hardest things for us moms to do once we have kids, is let someone else that we don't know watch over them, because, babies are challenging, and you want to feel comfortable that your child's in good hands and they're going to follow the things and the routines that you set in place, and they're not going to, try to feed your kid something that they shouldn't have, or they'll keep them safe while you're gone and give you peace of mind. That is huge. Okay. So if you can, before you have kids, try to get, build your network a little bit. And I know that's easier said than done, but, reach out to people, strengthen bonds that you may or may not have. But it's something that you're definitely going to need. I mean, even when it comes to friendship, a lot of times I feel like I have the best conversations with other mothers, post having kids, because they understand where you're coming from. They understand the new dynamic in your life and how you can't just do what you used to do, Of course, you can still be friends with people that are, childless. But, it's good to have, 1, play dates, 2, people that just relate to what you have going on, people that can give you good sound advice from their experience that could help you. Because sometimes you just don't know what to do. You can try everything, and then you'll have a friend that say, hey, have you tried this? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't. And then it works for you. So having that village and that support is super important. I remember when my mother-in-law came to my house after having my first child, and she was, trying to give me advice and trying to be helpful and do all these things, but we hadn't really built that relationship yet, because prior to having kids, they came around, but they didn't come around very often. So that's another thing, like, the grandparents are come to see you a lot more because they want to see the grandbabies. But she would try to help and everything, give advice, and I just was like, no, I don't need it. I'm fine and everything. And I just started drowning. And so like, you have to be open to getting some help. It's so crucial. It's so crucial. And just, if someone wants to bring you a free meal, say yes. Yes, I will take that dinner. If someone says, hey, I want to come help you with some chores, I want to watch the baby so you can take a nap, please say yes. I know it's hard, but it will keep you sane, okay? Okay, the fifth thing that I wish someone would have told me is you are going to have to work on your relationship with your spouse. That will change. And for many people, it can be a challenge. So basically, me and my spouse had to reintroduce ourselves to each other, because after you have a kid, you're like, who is this person that I married sometimes, And so I think it's very important prior to having kids is you need to set clear expectations on what you want to see. Like, if your spouse says, hey, I am not going to change diapers, and you're saying, I expect you to change diapers, there's a conflict. Or you say, hey, I expect you to watch the kids for X amount of time right after you get off of work. The spouse says, when I get off of work, I don't necessarily want to watch the kids. There's conflict. And so some of these things you're just not going to know how to prepare for until you get in the situation, but it's good to have those talks beforehand. And so it's an ongoing conversation that happens as long as you have kids, because their lives change, and what they need changes. And so you guys have to work together as a team to figure out how you both can best serve each other and the kids at the same time. So like, you have to make time for each other. And I know that's kind of hard to do in the early days, and you have to realize that this is just for a season and this isn't something that's going to last forever, but you have to put in the effort to make the time. And so quality time, planning dates, everything that you used to do beforehand, you should still try to do, but it just may look a little bit different. And so, kids can bring out the ugly in relationships. So many people have not survived after having kids. And so I just think that if you have those talks beforehand, it can help a lot. And just like to know what's going to happen after the baby enters the world. I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope it gave you some insight as to what to expect when entering the motherhood journey. And I'll be sharing more information on my channel as far as affecting the holistic motherhood journey. And I hope you come along. So thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys next time.